Welcome to the Goatee Sports Page. Coming to you live from the Blueticks Tavern in Maryville at 105.1 FM. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Bringing you the best in local sports since 1978. Featuring the Greenfield Gunner, Mike Edwards, former Maryville Scot, Donnie Moore, former UT coach, Ray Trail, from the Daily Times, Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Troy Prove O'Haron.
Hello, everybody, and greetings from the Blueticks Tavern in downtown Maryville. I'm Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, along with Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons, and this is the Goatee Sports Page. Number 1, Georgia rolls into Knoxville, and we're going to the whistle blows. And now let's set the lineup card, sponsored by Blunt Partnership. The University of Tennessee Sports Report, sponsored by the Cherokee Group and the Murphy's Bobcat SEC Notebook, lead off with Marcus Fitzsimmons and Donnie Moore. Today, we'll look back on Tennessee's meltdown at Missouri and regroup for today's game with Georgia. We'll also update some UT basketball. Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Iruli will join us. Donnie Moore will update us on high school scores and news from around the area, and then Mark It Down with Marcus Fitzsimmons, sponsored by Mandy B. Street Realty, features some state football playoff updates. The Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week will be announced, featuring veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons, as Alcoa Tornado football will be on the menu. Donnie Moore returns to discuss headlines from around the sports world before the Boyd Sports Spotlight shines on SEC football. And finally, the Shelter Insurance Bowl Prediction segment closes the show as the Goatees panel make their pigskin selections. And now it's time for the Cherokee Group UT Sports Report and the Murphy's Bobcat SEC Notebook, featuring Marcus Fitzsimmons and Donnie Moore. Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Iruli is back with us this morning. And good morning, Tony, good to have you back after your season up at Carson Newman. Good to see you, buddy.
Well, it's good to be among friends, and like I said,
you're in the wrong place.
I know.
You came to find friends this morning.
Only time I've ever been invited to be on a radio show, and I have to pay to be on it, so that's good. So, but I appreciate being around you guys, and looking forward to having a lot of fun today.
Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons, it's good to be back. We were off last week, kind of fall break for us.
It is,
We weren't there, and I was up at, Cal Ripken Jr.'s baseball park up there to see the grandkids play. They were in on a traveling team from Virginia, and, boy, what a complex that is up there.
Wow, good for you.
It was impressive.
Where's that?
Yeah, it's up there at Pigeon Forge.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's fabulous, fabulous. They got fields up there that look like some of the minor league parks. One of them had a green monster out in left field. I mean, they were all artificial surfaces. I don't know how many fields they had up there, but it was impressive. They had a clubhouse and I don't know what all, concession stand, and it was quite the complex. All lights on all the fields, and I was impressed with all of it. Had a great weekend of baseball up there. Watching the grandkids play. Everybody had a great time.
Glad to
did
you take them to the track?
Was Cal up there?
Yeah. I didn't see Cal. I tell
you, when I coached up in Pennsylvania, I remember going several times over to Baltimore and watching him play and all that.
Yeah.
And boy, that was he was just he would stick around after games, sign autographs and all that. I mean, it was just great experience.
Well, I think they got about 3 or 4 of these complexes. And I was talking to some people, and they say that and some of the coaches, they said that they like this one the best of all of them.
Well, think about it. You can come in, you can stay in Pigeon Forge. Your kids can play. You got plenty of places to take them to eat, and you can literally walk them to bumper cars and the track and any one of those attractions down there.
Yeah, my son had the grandkids up there, and they rented a cabin with 3 or 4 other parents on the team, and the place had an indoor swimming pool and a hot tub and a big screen TV. And I mean, to tell you, that sounds like the kind of weekend you want to have, in the mountains.
Not a bad deal. And, hang out around Dollywood. And
Absolutely,
it's a good place.
Well, Donnie, I'm ready for Let Her Rip.
Let's do it.
I mean, I've had a week off.
Last week.
I've had a week off, and I'm ready to rip. I'm going to rip Tennessee and Josh Heupel for going for a field goal at the end of the Missouri game last week. I just want to know what in the world is going on here. You've had your tail whipped all day long. You're behind 36-7. You got one play left down there on 4th down, and you decide to go for a field goal. Was this some type of high school decision here? Was this some sort of deal where a field goal was supposed to make you feel better about yourself after having a day like you've had? Was it just to show people you could put up a score in the second half, or was it something you could build on going into the Georgia game? I'm trying to be positive here. Was it to give your kicker confidence in a non-pressurized situation from the 12-yard line or something like that? And then, to make matters worse, just to cap the entire embarrassment of the day, you missed the daggone field goal.
Yep,
huh?
Yep.
Missouri takes, a timeout or so there to freeze you up because it was such an important play, and you miss it, Tony. Explain all that to me, will you?
Well, first of all, it's all the above that you just mentioned like that. I mean, you could tell there's a little hostility between both of the head coaches, and I think the last several years of Tennessee throwing up 60-some points against Missouri and some of the things that happened in between. I think this was Missouri's chance to kind of get us sticking to them.
But you've been whipped all over the field, and you kick a field goal, and if you make it, what do? Get on the bus and say, boys, it could have been worse.
That's right.
We could have been beat 36-7, but we pulled out 3 more right there at the end.
And then you missed it.
But you missed it.
Yeah, that's right.
If you made it, you could have said, we scored last.
I'll tell you what.
That's right. We showed them and all that.
I like Josh Heupel. I think he's done a great job over there, but I'm telling you, that was just, I guess when you're having those kind of days, you ought to have a play that just tops it all off.
And it's the lowest points that Tennessee has scored during his
they scored the play on the pass play there in the first half. I think it was right there in the start of the second quarter.
Right.
You got the long pass play, and you think, we're ready to go now. We got their number. I mean, we're clicking, and that was the highlight film of the day, pretty much, wasn't it, for Tennessee?
That was it.
That was it. All right.
But remember, I coached at Missouri for 2 years, and so I had several of the former players call me, and they were just so excited because they really haven't had too many experiences like that at Missouri very often and all that. So it was obviously a tremendous win for Missouri. But if you're a Tennessee fan, not very good.
I'm going to tell you right now, the quarterback, at Missouri, Cook, I believe that's his name, Brady Cook.
Right, yeah.
What a great game. He had 18 for 24 for 275 yards. That was impressive in itself. But the running back, Cody Schrader, 205 yards on 35 carries, 5 receptions for 116 yards, 321 yards total offense by one guy.
Yeah.
Tony, I'm telling you, that was probably – I was trying to think back of performances, when you see great performances and great running backs all through the years, and I've seen a lot of them, Ohio State had some
Griffin.
Archie Griffin up there at Ohio State won the Heisman 2 years in a row. What a running back he was. Leroy Keys at Purdue. I mean, I saw some big numbers. O.J. Simpson when he played out at Southern California, and we've all seen these great running backs, but have you ever seen a performance like that offensively by one guy?
He accumulated over 300 yards of offense, rushing and receiving.
And it wasn't against a bad defensive team. This was a defensive team that, really was carrying this Tennessee football team for the most part this year with the up front and the linebackers, and the secondary had become improved.
Sure.
It was, he was just running over guys.
Yeah,
he looked like, I don't know.
It was a performance of a lifetime. I mean, you know that Tennessee prepared for him, and and their offense and all that. But for a running back to have those type of stats against a Tennessee's defense, that's a pretty solid, pretty good defense. I mean, that was what the surprise department.
Marcus, what bothered me about the day more than anything else is this guy just kept running over us, and they kept pushing us around on the offensive line and the defensive line up front on both sides. And we didn't have any reaction. It was sort of like a prize fight, and somebody's just beating the living tar out of you, and you're just sitting there going, well, just go ahead and beat me.
Take another shot.
Take another shot. I can take all you can give me because I just don't want any of it. But it just didn't look like we didn't have any answer for anything. And we didn't really want it.
You mean it reminded you of Florida? Because that was what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
It felt like Tennessee left their whatever magic or their grit, whatever you want to call it, on the bus. It never left Knoxville.
Yeah.
And it's become a problem. And everybody's noticing that Tennessee doesn't have the determination on the road that they have at home.
No.
Well, we've talked about the formula, time and time again with Josh Heupel here, and the formula is just exactly what Missouri did. They kept Tennessee's offense off the field. Right. They controlled the clock. They had it for, 39 minutes and 56 seconds to Tennessee's 20 minutes and 4 seconds. That's an awful lot of time to have your defense out on the field, Tony, playing. And that's just what they did. They just kept Tennessee off the field. They wore down Tennessee's defense, and that had a lot to do with Schrader running all over the people.
Sure.
Because they just wore them down.
And remember, 3-4 years ago when Heupel came into Tennessee, I mean, his offense, the up-tempo type of offense, I mean, that's still kind of new in the college world, and so many other teams are running that type of offense now. And what has happened is defenses have adjusted to that type of offense, where it used to be really unique, when Heupel got here. Now, we've seen that all the time, and even at Carson Newman, when we're facing teams like that, there's a certain way we practice during the week preparing for a team. And like we said earlier, I mean, this is the lowest points a Heupel team has scored at Tennessee since his arrival.
The other thing is, when we think of the Heupel offense, we think of the way we saw it the last year in 8 games.
Yep.
It's not running at that clip this year. It is not getting the plays off that quickly, and that's a good thing because they're not executing in that mode when they go that fast.
No, you're exactly right. Heupel's not coaching the type of team that he wants to coach. He's
Correct.
coaching the defense, and the defense is carrying this team. And he instead of going to fast up, hurry up, throwing the ball, and big play, he's relying on running the football.
Yeah.
Running the football and playing defense. That's really not his game. But last week there were some other things too. That Jalen Wright fumble right before the half was a killer. Where they were driving down, looked like we're going to get a score. He fumbles. The Joe Milton fumble and the interception in the second half that Missouri got, turnovers hurt them big time last week. Even though they were up 7-3 at the half, Tony, I didn't feel real comfortable about it.
No.
I didn't think they played real well the first half. Probably was really lucky probably to be ahead. But and then on the other hand, penalties. 9 penalties for 95 yards. I mean, what's going on with all the penalties with this team?
Just a bad day overall.
Yeah.
I misunderstood that back's name almost the whole game. I thought instead of Schrader, they were saying Shredder. That's what he was doing to Tennessee's defense.
Yeah, you're thinking, is he going to go to the right or the left? No, he's just going to run right over the top of you. He's going to leave his cleat marks, all over your helmet.
Well, believe me, everyone knows his name now.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's the SEC's leading back.
Yeah.
He was going into the game.
Well, what was disappointing was Tennessee came into the football game. They were 7-2 coming in. Everybody was feeling real good about it. They were hoping that Georgia would get beat. Mississippi might upset them down there, and that Tennessee could take care of business at Missouri, and then they could be playing today for the Eastern Division Championship of the SEC, which didn't happen. But what bothered me is this was the first ranked team that they've played this entire season, ranked.
Yeah.
That really meant something. Not to say the other ones didn't, but this was a ranked team, which really was going to, put kind of an explanation mark on where you're at, and you just get the living tar beat out of you. Now you get another chance today. Georgia's ranked.
You don't have to worry about
they
that
can't
one.
go any ranking any further than what they are. They're number 1 in the country. But let's talk about Tennessee's season right here. Let's be real honest about it. Tennessee's got 7 wins on the year. 4 of those wins they bought out. Virginia, they paid $2 million to BYU to get Virginia, and then they paid $1.5 million to Virginia for the game. That's $3.5 million. UTSA, they paid $1.6 million for that win. Austin Peay, $550,000 for that win. UConn, $1.8 million for that win. For 4 of their 7 wins, they gave $7.5 million. Okay, well, fine. Everybody says, well, everybody's doing it. Okay, well, we're doing it. We spent $7.5 million, and we paid 4 teams there that really just give us wins, didn't do anything else for us, so to speak. Made us feel good.
Yeah.
Then we beat South Carolina, and where are they? South Carolina. They're having a horrible year.
Yeah.
Texas A&M, I'll give them credit for that. I don't think Texas A&M's bad. That's their best win.
That's a good win.
Kentucky up there, Kentucky's Kentucky. I mean, they weren't. But none of those teams were ranked.
No.
There's none of them that's been ranked. So my question is, and I'll start with you, Marcus. How good is this team?
Well, I don't think we know.
Well, we better be finding out. We've only got a couple games, Jeff.
This is my hope. I think this team put too much on itself. I think the fans put too much on it, assuming that everything about the Josh Heupel way of playing football was plug and play, and it turned out it wasn't. You've got to have a certain kind of quarterback, you've got to have a certain kind of offensive line, and you've got to have a certain type of receiver. And those pieces didn't fit as well. So Tennessee it's a pretty good coaching job to put the pieces he's got into and kind of adjust to how they're doing things. But the whole time they've been writing this thing that, Tennessee's a top 10 team. Tennessee's got potential. Tennessee can win the East. Well, you know what? After Missouri, all that's off the table.
Yeah, it is.
So maybe today you get to see a Tennessee team that doesn't have this weight on its shoulder like it's supposed to perform to do certain things, and maybe they play better without that. That's the best hope you got.
Well, Tony, they got them ranked number 18th in the country, and they beat, they beat Texas A&M.
Yeah.
And Texas A&M wasn't too satisfied with their year because they fired their $65 million man, last week. So, they're not too thrilled about their football team.
No.
But we're hanging our hat on that one, so to speak. But you got Georgia coming in here today. I mean, heck, they could, weirder things have happened. Georgia could be drinking the rat poison because everybody's just talking about Georgia and Alabama in the title game. Sure. And if Georgia loses today, they're still in the playoff hunt because if they beat Alabama in the playoff game, they're going.
Correct.
So, but Georgia is, they're on a mission. And they play that running football, and they're going to eat some time up on the clock.
Right.
They're not really all that explosive. No. But they control the ball. It's going to be like Missouri. You let them control the ball out there, what's going to happen to your defense again? They're going to get tired.
Right. I see Tennessee playing a much better game than they did last week.
Well, they can't play any worse.
No, can't play any worse. They've traditionally, whenever they've had, I'll say good teams, but whenever they go on the road, example, every time they go down to Florida on the road with good teams, they end up losing. And I think fans, it's kind of judged the Tennessee program sort of like what they've done the previous 2 years with a great quarterback, great offensive scheme. You don't have those players. You don't have the same personnel. Yeah. And so, therefore, it's a much different team that they have right now, where the expectations is at a certain level, but it can't because, you just don't have those type of players.
Right. And Donnie Moore, the measuring stick, we heard this last year. The measuring stick for Josh Heupel and this Tennessee football program, got to beat Florida. Got to beat Alabama. Got to beat Georgia. Well, you've lost to Florida. Shouldn't have.
Nope.
Florida's not having a very good year. That's a bad loss.
Yeah.
And then Alabama, they're having a great year. But now you got Georgia. Now, last year you beat Alabama, and you've beaten Napier, there at Florida. But you're still not controlling those games.
Nope.
And you're not where you need to be to go on up to that next tier on the ladder, because that's the measuring stick right there. And you got Georgia in here today, a win against Georgia, and you've erased the year has become a success.
That's right.
If they beat Georgia next week, we're saying, this year is hot. It's been a great year.
Yeah.
Got Vanderbilt today.
You're
going to finish 9-3. You're going to get a pretty good bowl game now.
Yeah.
What a comeback, and what a great. You lose today. Excuse me. You're 8-4.
Yeah.
You're 8-4 if you lose today, and then your bowl game's not going to be a very good game. You could play Rutgers, you could play Northwestern, you could play, you could play Virginia Tech,
Indiana.
You're probably going to get another win.
Sure.
But it's just not going to be, what you would like for it to be. But anybody else read that differently or not?
No, I don't. I think many Vol fans, Mike, preseason especially, came into this season with too high of an expectation for not only the Vol team, but for Joe Milton. And Joe Milton is not Hendon Hooker. Yep. He hasn't been from the word go. There's a reason.
And if you go back to one of our discussions earlier during the preseason when we were talking about how many wins Tennessee is going to win, a lot of us in this panel said 8-9 wins.
Yeah.
I think we kind of recognize that, there's a difference between the two quarterbacks and the players that are returning back like that. So, I mean.
Sure.
I'm still running because I said 7-5.
You said 7. Okay.
Yeah,
I,
you did,
I was at 9-3.
I was at 8.
I was at 9-3, and I felt real comfortable with 9-3, and I didn't look for them to beat Georgia or Alabama, and I thought they might lose to somebody else in there.
Right.
Joe Milton last week was 22 for 34 for 267 yards. Not a bad day.
No, but he doesn't have the parts that they've had.
But
previously.
the timeliness of the playmaking, he wasn't making the big throw that was going to turn it around, and when he did, we had the turnovers that instead took it the other way, because you had two 14-point swings in that game with his with the interception and with the fumble at the end of the first half.
Well, down the stretch of that game, Joe Milton looked like he was at Michigan to me.
Yeah.
Man, he was throwing balls all over the place. I mean, he was erratic.
I thought you were going to say he was over there stealing signs.
Well, I don't think we stole very many signs.
That's a later discussion.
I don't think he was stealing very many signs. There wasn't very much working out there for us. But
run
I
left,
thought
run
he
right,
would,
run over Tennessee.
I thought he was. I thought he was all over the place throwing the ball.
Yeah. It just that
He was. Yeah, I thought so too.
And I didn't see a lot of leadership out there on either side of the ball, which was kind of disappointing, and not as much enthusiasm. At games during the year, I saw the defense, really coming together, and I didn't see much of that last week.
Nor did I.
Yeah. Well, Georgia's coming in today, and there's nothing that can get you more excited than playing the number one team in the country, Georgia.
right.
A team at home.
Shouldn't be.
And
anyway.
you've won 14 straight at home. Of course, we don't want to go back and look at who you beat at home in them 14 games. I know there's an Alabama and a Florida in there, but I don't know how much there is of everybody else. There's probably some Kentuckys in there, some Vanderbilts, and some whatever else. But the game's at 3:30 on CBS today, and Georgia's a 10.5 point favorite.
But again, when you look at both programs, both of them have had a change at their quarterback position. Both of them have changed a lot of personnel, but you see more of the depth in the Georgia program, where now they're able to still maintain that high level, and Tennessee obviously has dropped off. But that's something that the recruiting and getting on the transfer portal is going to have to help solve that for Tennessee right now.
Well, I think it's a monumental task, to beat Georgia in there today, and I know the fans are going to be up, and I know the stadium's going to be rocking, and
you got Dolly singing.
But listen, this is a Georgia team on a mission. They're going for 3 straight championships.
Sure.
This isn't just somebody trying to win a first one right here.
No.
They've been in these situations before, so we'll see what happens. Let's talk about Georgia. Tony, what are they playing for? They've already wrapped up the SEC East. They're in the championship game, so what are they playing for?
Well, I think they're playing for in terms of it's hard nowadays to find those programs with the type of domination over a specific era, okay? And now they got an opportunity to possibly be on the track to win a third national championship. I mean, so now you're talking to them about being at that high level compared to like a Alabama, so those.
Well, they're going. Here's one of the things you got to think of.
Yeah.
And it probably doesn't matter to the players as much as it does to the media, but Georgia wins today. They complete 3 perfect SEC seasons in a row. Not even Alabama has done that since we went to divisional play.
Okay. Yeah.
So you've got that hanging over them. You've also got for the CFP, Georgia's resume is still a little bit around. I mean, you're going to need something on your resume because Michigan and Ohio State are going to play Thanksgiving week while you're playing Georgia Tech. You need another quality win over a ranked team on your resume for that committee, not to get leapfrogged. Like you just leapfrogged Ohio State this past week. To keep them from jumping back over you need if you want to have an argument, you better have another win over a top 25 team.
Here's what I think Kirby Smart's doing with that football team coming in here today. I think he's saying, boys, this is the first game of the playoffs. We're on the road.
Yeah.
We got a team here that's won 14 straight. This is a hostile crowd. They play their best football at home. This is a playoff game.
That's
I think he's going to approach it like that, like it's a playoff game. Not a
Sure.
regular season game,
Sure.
but a playoff game.
Because it's going to get them in that, like I said, in that playoff mode. You're on the road.
Adverse conditions.
Extreme adverse conditions.
Exactly.
The nation's really kind of looking at this game as the
Right.
premier game of the
Right.
of the weekend, and so yeah, they're in that
Right.
getting that track right now.
And if he's approaching that, that's not good news because Georgia's pretty good at reacting when he does that.
Sure, and look at what they've done the past 3 years. I
Yeah.
mean, they've had those good conditions, adverse conditions, and they've no matter how their personnel has changed over the last 3 years, they have always been able to rise to the occasion. And I expect Tennessee to be playing a much better game than they did last week.
Well,
and
I think that the game is going to be more in their favor. Carson Beck is not he can scramble when he has to.
Yeah.
But he's not a Milroe down at Alabama. I mean,
Right.
he's not a guy like that. He's more of a grinded out type offense, run the ball, hit Bowers with some passes there, McConkey,
Right.
the other hit those with some short passes right there, take the field, keep the ball away from the other team, control the momentum of the game. They're that type of team. Well, Tennessee, if they can stop them, that's more to their advantage. If you take that big play away from a team, then you got a better chance, right? Huh?
Yeah, I agree. And obviously, that the first half is going to be critical to see whether Tennessee's going to have any type of success. But they're going to come back home. Got a huge crowd, and got their back during the game. You're going to have a lot of momentum on the Tennessee side, being playing this game at home. And if they just hang in there early on, then who knows what happens here.
The longer they can extend the game, the better chance they got. There's a couple of things about Georgia that worries me. Number one, they don't beat themselves. They don't turn the ball over very much, and they're not penalized very much. So you got to beat them. And the fact that they eat the clock up running the ball and shorten the game and control everything, that bothers me. Tennessee, they're trying to get a 9-win season, a better bowl game. Redeemed themselves from Missouri last week, but what do they need to do, Tony, to stay in this game with Georgia?
Well, first of all, the Georgia coaches are telling their players all week, forget what happened in that Missouri game. They just played a bad game. That's not the Tennessee we're going to be facing. All right, we're going to be facing a much better, much highly motivated team this Saturday. So don't even pay attention to what happened to the Missouri game. And like I said, I think it's going to be a tough physical game. I think Tennessee's going to play much better, and I still think the game still may be still trying to figure out who's going to win.
Yeah, I think,
middle of the second half.
I think Tennessee's going to have to run the football. They got to run the clock. They're going to shorten the game. Their offense needs to be in some rhythm. They got to avoid 3rd and long. They can't afford like a 3rd and 2 and get penalized for legal procedure. They got to cut their penalties. Don't give Georgia any short fields on turnovers.
Yeah, and the quarterback's got to come up with some crucial big plays on 3rd down, because that's what hurt them last week. Is that they didn't make the big 3rd down plays.
And the biggie is don't let Georgia get off to the fast start. Don't let them get up 14-0 in the first quarter, and take your crowd right out of the game. Right there early. You don't want that to happen. Hey, we're going to take a break here. It's time for the break, and when we come back, we'll have the Donnie Moore will provide high school scores, and we'll have some news from around the area. Veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons will join us with his feature, Mark It Down. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
It's payday, and on payday, you want to have access to your money right away. When you enroll for direct deposit at Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union, your money comes to you with no waiting. It's the fastest and most secure way to get paid. Getting set up is easy. All you need is your account number and our routing number. Find out more at tvacreditunion.com.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Some restrictions apply. Ask for details.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality.
Wow.
For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply.
The Blueticks.
Welcome back to the Goatee Sports page. Donnie Moore is here with some high school scores and sports news from around the area. I know you probably got this in there, but the newspaper's been full of signings. I mean, there's been a slew of Blount County signings, and we do want to congratulate all those athletes that's going to go on and further their education and athletic careers on the college level next year. There's been a bunch of them, and I know
got them for you.
I know there's a lot of proud parents out there and a lot of proud coaches, and our hats off to all of them.
That we sure are. We do congratulate them, and I'll give them to you here in just a minute. First of all, high school football, the TSSAA playoffs, the quarterfinals, and then there was one. Marcus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
That's the way it is. This
then
time
there
of
were
year.
4. But, okay, we
Yeah,
can go with
in
one.
Blount County.
For our area, yeah, there was one. There's one left.
Yeah, there's one left. Region 2, number 1, Alcoa, traveled to region number 1 seed, Gatlinburg-Pittman last night. And everybody was kind of expecting a battle. And it was a battle, more or less.
It was just not the battle we were expecting going in.
Right.
Marty and I both said the same thing about midway through the first quarter, which was this GP defense is very good.
Oh, they were vaunted. Yeah.
They were very good. Alcoa had a heck of a time running against them.
Mm-hmm.
But what they did.
What they did, they used other of their weapons, their many weapons.
Well, what GP did was they played a defense aimed at stopping the run.
Right.
And to do that, they left Brandon Witten on single coverage the entire game, and Brandon Witten burned them for almost 200 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Sure did. Compliments of Eli Graff.
And Graff was throwing good balls. He made some pretty throws to Brandon, and that helped him a lot because he was not like out there with just like some little small cornerback. He had another 3-star guarding him and Carlos Lopez. Twice Eli just put it right over the top of the hands and dropped it right into the basket to him.
Sure.
On the move. And there was, it was perfect coverage. There was nothing the cornerback could do. I mean, the pass was just right on.
No, very little blown coverage. I mean, the coverage was,
but
like
it gave
you said,
Alcoa,
right on the nose.
It gave Alcoa an early lead. They were up 24-0 at half. Coming out of halftime, GP put together a good, probably its best drive of the game.
Yeah, it was.
And it just turned into a kind of a slugging match in the second half. There were a lot of penalties. GP had some untimely turnovers that hurt them.
Which Alcoa may have had something to do with.
Alcoa had something to do with all of those. Trying to think of the young man's name. He's a freshman. Stepped up, made a huge interception for Alcoa. Bounced back. He should have had one before that was a couple plays before that was tipped, and he was a little bit shallow, couldn't come up with it. But he stepped right in and didn't let it get him down, made a big play.
Alcoa's got some great young talent.
And then Brennan Dugan made a huge fumble recovery.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the classic hot potato because that thing popped out of the crowd. There were like 4 defenders in there, the running backs in there, and the ball just literally comes squirting out up in the air, and it's bouncing along the ground. And it's not like bouncing in a line. It was like a squib kick. It went here, it went right, it went left, and it pops up in the air. And Dugan grabs it as it pops up in the air and just made a huge play returning that thing, setting Alcoa up. And it got tacked on because there was a personal foul on the end of that play from the GP quarterback. So it was a slow match. It was a great game to watch, though. I mean, this was not a blowout game, so it was a lot of fun to watch this one.
Good deal. Well, the upshot and the end result was Alcoa wins the game 31-7, and they will survive and advance to the next week's semifinals, which will be played at home at Goddard Field.
Good.
Going back to Alcoa next Friday night, the evening after Thanksgiving.
There we go.
Not too much turkey, I hope.
Well, yeah,
Giles County.
It's Giles
County.
Giles County you're hosting, and
who beat Meigs County last night in a mild upset, 35-14. And Meigs County was undefeated on the season.
Well, Giles had a really good second round performance. I was thinking they were on a roll because they threw up 70 on McMinn Central in the second round, and you just kind of feeling they were clicking. So we'll see how we're going to get a first-hand look at them.
Oh yeah,
and I'm glad we don't have to drive anywhere to do that.
This is true. We did last year. Alcoa had to go up there last year.
You know, we've got some tornadoes in the house joining us later, but
right,
we'll ask them. But if there's anybody that knows how to manage holiday week, it's Alcoa at this point because, I mean, you're talking 17 of the last 23 years that they have been practicing on Thanksgiving.
They're not rookies playing on Thanksgiving.
They know the routine.
They sure do. They sure do. But congratulations
to Alcoa.
The Tornadoes, Tornado Nation on winning and surviving past Thanksgiving. Yeah, going to the state semis. All right, moving on to National Letters of Intent. Mike signed this week. We had a slew of them. Had 8.
Yeah.
7 of them females.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Goodness. We'll start with Haley Butler of Maryville High School. She signed a national letter of intent to go to further her education and athletic career at Stetson University.
Hatters.
Do you think? Yeah, the Hatters. You think they give them all hats?
I don't know.
They might.
It's Florida.
The hats,
you need a hat in Florida.
You do need a hat in Florida,
especially if you're a coxswain like she is, because you're on the shiny end of the boat with a lot of sunshine.
That's right. She's continuing. She's going to be rowing, but she's not a rower. She'd like to be, but she said she was a little bit small for that.
For the college level.
Yeah. The college level.
I mean, she could probably compete in the high school level.
So she's going to be giving the rest of them orders. She's a coxswain.
Okay, so
she's going to. She's the one that gives the orders from the front of the boat.
Okay.
That's the person that keeps the time and
keeps the time
and does the direction.
The cadence.
Very good. Okay.
Tells them when to row.
And she did that in high school?
Yes.
Yeah.
She did over at TriStar Rowing here.
TriStar Rowing.
Okay.
So she's good at what she does. Obviously good enough to earn a college scholarship.
That's excellent. Congratulations.
Yeah. Congratulations to Haley. Next on the list is Gracie Franklin, also of Maryville High School, who is going to Milligan University for a track and cross-country scholarship. Yeah.
Talked with her. Most people, I think people
talked to all these
will
young
remember
people.
her sister, who is a coach over at Maryville Junior High now, but just strong family tradition in running. She's got a very similar running style. She's not the big, tall, lanky runner. She's one of those that just keeps moving. Like you see her wearing people down.
Just a strong runner.
Yeah. So, and saw her at state. She had a really good run there, finished top 25. So it's a good fit for her to go to Milligan and stay on some of these mountain courses.
Well, congratulations to Gracie. We hope she does really well at Milligan. Next up on the list, Kiernan Stamey, also from Maryville. Well, a lot of these are from Maryville, by the way.
Maryville had a big signing day.
They did have
on the
a big
first
signing
period.
day.
They Landon Coleman did a great job organizing a huge spread to do a lot of their athletes from a lot of their sports all at once.
Good.
They
make a big deal out of it, and
that's one way to do it. And we have a big signing day coming up in December. We also have some that are coming out bit by bit as kids are making decisions. I think we've had 3 at Alcoa so far, and I think we had 1 at Greenback yesterday.
Yep.
So it just depends on how the school does these. So we're not playing favorites and running off a bunch of Maryville kids here.
No,
we just had a bunch of Maryville kids sign early.
I got these in chronological order. So.
All right.
But Kieran's signed a volleyball letter of intent to go to Kennesaw State. I assume that's Georgia.
Jordan.
Yep.
Kennesaw State. Good. Outstanding. Emerson Darnell, also from Maryville, signed with Johnson University over here
down the road.
Yeah, just down the road here in Knox County. Going to play softball.
Yep.
So I tell you, softball is a great sport for young
and
ladies.
we got quite a few Blount County athletes playing at
do.
Johnson in various sports at this point.
Our lone male athlete, Cade Batchelor, also from Maryville, has signed to play baseball with Belmont University in Nashville.
Very good.
Yeah,
very good.
That's
program
a good program.
There. Yeah, that's a big deal.
It sure is. It's good.
Congratulations.
Good Congratulations to Cade. Mackenzie Willis, our representative from William Blount, has signed to play lacrosse with the University of the Cumberlands.
And that's one that we're going to see a lot more of, especially next year when it becomes a TSSAA sport.
Yeah, it's being sanctioned by TSSAA next year, and that sport's growing by leaps and bounds.
It really is.
Well, it's growing in the southeast by leaps and bounds. It's always had a strong presence in the central and northeast.
Yes, it has.
And we've had it on the club level for a good 10 years, across the county. But waiting to see how that happens. I think we've got strong programs already in place on the club level, and this kind of, her signing kind of shows that. But we'll see what happens with that and how it continues to develop once it's they're playing this officially for the schools.
Yes, I'm glad to see it being sanctioned. Hannah Adams from Alcoa has signed a softball letter of intent with Bryan College.
Thank you.
And we're going to congratulate her at this time. Hope she does well at Bryan.
I think that's a great fit. Sarah's done such a great job over at Alcoa with development that you see a lot of those kids that are going to be able to play on the college level, I think, if they want to.
Good. And our final athlete from Greenback, Katie Jones, has signed another softball NLI with Tusculum University up in Greenville. So congratulations to Katie.
That's another good fit.
Good fit for Katie.
One that we missed last week that people will be I've been watching or waiting for is Jovan Carter signing.
Oh, yeah.
It took place
Penn
last
State.
week. And
where did he sign it?
Penn State.
He's going to Penn State to play basketball.
Yeah.
So that was another big one that people have been waiting on. There's a lot more coming out of Alcoa. I think we're going to wait till football season's over before we see those officially done at the school.
Good.
But
good deal. But I mean, there's just a wealth of talent here in Blount County.
There is
playing college athletics,
and it's not just you can tell from that list. It's not just limited to the officially sanctioned sports.
No,
3 of those are from sports that are on the club level still. And it's just a lot, and some of those that have signed, especially with softball and soccer, I mean, they're being recruited more on their club level than they are on what they're playing in high school.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a wealth of great programs running in the county.
Sure. And from all of us at the sports page, congratulations to these fine athletes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Big step in their lives.
It certainly is. You're listening to WKCE 92.5 FM and 1180 AM Mid-Century Radio. And now I would like to officially and proudly introduce our veteran sports writer, Marcus Fitzsimmons, for his feature, Mark It Down.
That was profound.
That was
Donnie.
really nice.
Seems like we ought to have some music when you do
Boy,
that. You know,
yeah.
maybe
Or at
some
least
sort
a
of
drum
fan-
roll.
Exactly.
We'll work on
Some
that.
twinkling
We'll
music
work
or
on that.
something like that.
Right.
So we're gonna give some time towards the end for Alcoa. So we're going to talk a little bit about the playoffs, go through and tell people what happened last night and what we're looking for on Thanksgiving week. Start off with Class 1A, and we had an upset last night for this area that I don't think many people were expecting, but it was a Region 2 rematch in the quarterfinals, and the second time around, Oliver Springs upsets Coalfield 20-13.
Yeah.
Oliver Springs was the runner-up, lost to Coalfield about mid-season. They get the one-score win now. They're going to move on and play South Pittsburgh this week. That game's going to be at Oliver Springs. On the bottom side of that bracket, you got McKenzie and Dresden, which are two familiar teams in 1A. So it looks like the Final Four for 1A is going to be a little bit interesting. We'll see what happens. Class 2A, and I think our fans at Eagleton will appreciate this one. We got the region champions meeting last night, and York Institute that hung 61 on Eagleton back in the first round. They put 56 on Hampton last night, 56-13 to win, and Hampton was the Region 1 champion.
Yep.
So if you're at Eagleton, you can take a little bit of grace that even the guys who beat you and won your region didn't do much better against York.
That's true.
But York's going to move on. They'll be facing East Robertson. I was a little bit surprised. They were the number 2 seed out of Region 3, so we'll see what happens there. They knocked off Smith County last night. Coach Rankin's old stomping grounds over there.
Yeah, that's right, Smith County.
And then on the bottom side, Riverside and Fairleigh will be meeting for the rights to go to Chattanooga. Class 3A, we were talking about this. I believe we mentioned that Alcoa may have beat GP last night.
I did think we mentioned that.
Yes.
But Giles County will be coming to Alcoa. They got the 35-14 win over Meggs. And on the bottom side of the bracket, it's the teams we've been talking about. It's this time of year, we're getting used to saying East Nashville. East Nashville
Yep, that's true.
beat Liberty Creek 41-14. They're going to be hosting Dyersburg in the state semis this week. Winner gets to go to Finley Stadium, and if we see Alcoa East Nashville Part 3, it's a possibility in
Could
this
be.
Final Four. Class 4A, again, another one that the prognosticators got wrong because I think a lot of people were picking Anderson County to win this game last night in the
they
quarterfinals.
were.
And Greenville smacked them
Yep.
28-17.
Greenville's a good football team.
And that's the Greenville team that Alcoa was supposed to be playing.
Mm-hmm.
That was the game that got rained out.
Got
Weathered
out.
Weathered out when I think it was, 7-7 in that one
Yeah,
when it got
it
called. So Greenville will be hosting Upperman, who edged
Bees.
out. Yeah, they edged out Macon County 17-14. So that will set up the semi up there, provided wildfires don't get in the way. On the bottom side of that bracket, a team that many around here would recognize, Pearl Cone, is playing Haywood on the other side of the bracket for 4A. Then in 5A, here's one of those rematches where we talk about you don't want to play that team that second time. It's always harder to beat them.
Yes.
So
And
y'all
it
remember
was.
Knox West and Powell was just a slugfest. It came down and it went right down to the wire 3 weeks ago. Not this time.
No.
Yeah.
Knox West
Took it to him.
Yeah, 31-5.
Mauled them.
Kind of an interesting play in there right before half, where
The catch down the goal line and
they get the big play, and you're thinking that West is going to have to run up and spike the ball, or try to do something to stop the clock if they want to try to score.
had 4 seconds left.
And Powell calls timeout. And I think from what I understand now from some people who were there was they had an extra defender on the field who couldn't get off, and they were forced to call timeout to avoid the penalty. But it really just gave West a chance to regroup and set up a score that kind of took the wind out of any chance out of Powell's sails there. But they'll be playing Walker Valley, Region 4 champion, who knocked off Clinton 24-20 after Clinton pulled that stunning win over Oak Ridge a week ago. Just couldn't quite get it done against Walker Valley. And then on the bottom side, Centennial and Page, another game that was played 3 weeks ago in the regular season. Page wins this one 14-7 over Centennial, and they'll be playing Southwind in the 5A semis.
Southwind.
Now 6A, we're used to saying Maryville's involved here, and they're not this year. But
they're not.
Another rematch, Bearden and Bradley Central played 3 weeks ago. A little bit better result. Bradley Central won 35-14. They'll advance. Can't say the same thing about their opponent.
Bearden led early in that game too, didn't they?
They did. Oakland and Riverdale had the rematch, and everybody was talking about how Riverdale had pulled the upset 3 weeks ago. They edged Oakland, ended their region winning streak, which was the longest in the state. And it was a close game. Oakland apparently has been thinking about that for 3 weeks because it was a 56-0 shutout last night. They just hammered Riverdale.
Oakland did not appreciate that.
So you're going to get
loss.
A really good game probably at Bradley Central for Thanksgiving week with Oakland coming over to Bradley Central.
Yeah.
And
I'd
then
say that will be a good game.
On the bottom side, a team that Alcoa played and beat in the opener, Ravenwood, was still alive in the quarterfinals. They played a closer game against Brentwood in the Battle of the Woods, and those schools are, 3 miles apart?
Yeah, they're not far from each other.
They're really, really close. And Brentwood won that one 27-20. They'll be hosting Houston, who don't know much about them. They're coming out of Memphis. They were the runner-up in Region 8, and Region 8 always is kind of a mystery to the rest of us because you never know what's going on over there. To give the shout-out, Boyd Buchanan.
Yes, Coach Rankin's team.
There you go.
Boyd Buchanan, what were they, 2-8 last year?
Yeah.
10-0 coming in the playoffs. They beat Davidson Academy 36-24. They are in the Blue Cross Bowl, and they'll be playing CPA, which is a team that Gary Rankin knows something about from his days at Alcoa.
Yeah, he sure does.
But congratulations on Boyd Buchanan for
it's really amazing.
Huge turnaround.
No matter where he's been at, he's always achieved great success.
He wins.
They gave him a year, and look where you are. You go from 2-8 his first year, 10-0, and
what a turnaround
in the state championship game. And then
and he just became a grandfather.
That's true.
I saw that,
That's true.
This week too.
Yeah.
And
I believe his son is the strength coach at that school too, as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Last one I'll bring out here is in Class 3A for Division II. Just because of the scrimmages we had earlier in the year during the summer before we actually started this thing, the state championship game is coming down to McCauley and Baylor. Baylor beat Knox Catholic 49-35 last night, and McCauley beat MBA 33-15. But those are two teams that have scrimmaged Blount County teams in the summer and been a good measuring stick early in the year, so good to see them still alive. And playing later today, if you will remember this, there was a team from New York that came down here and played Alcoa back in August.
Tottenville.
Is playing today in the first round of the New York State playoffs for the Empire League.
Playoffs are later, aren't they? No, they're early.
And what was the Alcoa score of that game?
You don't want to ask me that one. It was Mercy Rule.
Yeah, it was a Mercy Rule game.
But it was also their first game, and they were playing, I think, a week before everybody else in their conference.
They'd only been in pads for that week.
Because they start so much later in the year.
Welcome to Southern football. Difference between New York football and Tennessee and Southern football.
But let me say we'll kind of wrap it there. We are making that transition. It's the beautiful time of year where we have so much going on. Mm-hmm. Hall of Fame games all over the place this afternoon. I think almost every school in the area is playing at least one Hall of Fame game today. So there's a plethora of basketball going on if you have lost your interest in football for one reason or another. So you got that chance. The season's going to get started. And something new we've got coming up in a week or two. Well, not even a week or two. It'll be next week. We've always had the Heritage Thanksgiving Tournament. It's just going to be a 4-game classic. But Alcoa is rolling out a Thanksgiving tournament this year.
Are they?
I believe it's an 18 field with maybe 4 girls teams, and then they've got 6 boys teams. But those games are going to be played on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week. So there's full basketball action
good.
Monday night, Tuesday night, and then Wednesday morning they'll be playing. But give them a shout out because the gym will be busy over at Alcoa, even though they're out of school this week.
Yes, they are.
Explain to the listeners what a Hall of Fame game is.
I wish I could, Mike. I really wish I could. Some coaches count it, some do not. It's not supposed to, officially, I don't think it's supposed to count your record, but if you win it, a lot of coaches put it their record. If you lose it, a lot of coaches don't count it.
Yeah, you don't have to.
But
for TSSAA to make more money.
It's a glorified scrimmage with more money going to the TSSAA.
Oh, so they get the money for whatever.
There's to play it, and call it a Hall of Fame game, you have to do certain things for TSSAA.
I see.
It's
give
kind
them,
of the same
give them
way.
a lot of money.
If you have if these holiday tournaments, if you have a classic with a set schedule, you pay the TSSAA a lower percentage than if you have a holiday tournament that has a bracket where teams are moving in the bracket and playing.
I see.
So it really doesn't have anything to do with someone going into the Hall of Fame or anything. They just call it a Hall of Fame.
Originally,
sounds good.
Originally it did.
Sounds impressive.
Yeah.
But anyway,
sounds like they're raising money for a big Hall of Fame building or something. They're getting a belt or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Mike, let's just take a break here and we'll bring in Alcoa and talk to them about some football here.
Okay. Hey, it's time to turn the page and announce the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at StevensonTire.net. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the Sports Page Player of the Week segment featuring Daily Times senior reporter Marcus Fitzsimmons, sponsored by Anderson Lumber Company, where quality service is always a priority. Proudly serving Blount County for over 75 years. And Marcus, talking about Alcoa football, I'll turn it back over to you for some more of that coverage. Huh?
Yeah, we're going to be doing our players of the Anderson Lumber Players of the Week. We have a couple Alcoa Tornadoes joining us, and I asked them right before they come on here if they were still sore from last night, and I'm assuming, guys, that it is true. That was a tough game last night.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
So we have Bryce Hayes and Isaiah Emmert. Bryce, let me start with you. Tell people your year and what positions you're playing.
I'm a senior, and I play left tackle.
And Isaiah?
I'm a junior, and I play center.
So we have the bulk of that line here. Guys, this was a game that everybody was expecting to be physical, and it seemed like it played out that way last night. Can you talk a little bit about what GP was doing defensively? Because it looked like, to us in the stands, it looked like they were stacking up and were really lined up to keep you all from running the ball last night.
I would say they were. Their backers flowed through very well. And then once they flowed through, their safeties were able to pull up well, which allowed them to make tackles at 3 to 5 yards, which didn't – I mean, two of those, 2 5-yard runs get you a first down, but still that's a lot of beating and banging.
When you're looking at what GP was doing, and again, this is just us in the stands, they look like a defense that you could put more on comparison with a Bearden or a Maryville versus a Kingston or some of the region teams you've played. They look like a very good defense that was hard to push around.
It definitely wasn't easy. They were definitely physical up front, and they were motivated going into that game. And so, I mean, they were playing man coverage on the outside, so everything inside was super tight. I mean, it wasn't like we were just going to sit there and blow a big one through the middle. So they definitely brought it that night, and they're very physical up front. That's how they've been all year. We saw it on film. We knew what we were coming into.
And I guess that was a question we had was, you all look at film. It wasn't like they're going to surprise you. Mm-hmm. Did it surprise you how long they stayed with kind of bottling you guys up in the middle, but letting your receivers run in single coverage? That kind of surprised us because it looked like you all were giving Eli plenty of time to throw the ball.
Yeah, that was a big surprise. If I was a defensive coach, I would have spread things out. Like, you're giving us time to throw the ball. They were blitzing one backer at a time, so that's even more. Like, you only have one backer over the middle and everybody else is in man, so what are you really going to do? So,
we talked about this preseason. We talked with Coach Gossett, and, the offensive line kind of had to come together this year. And and when we talked to Coach Nix, he talks about the offensive line has grown and is finally getting to the point you're all a little bit dirty now, nasty, and getting some of the attitude he likes to see from offensive linemen. How has this group kind of come together, and what kind of challenges have you guys faced as far as injuries and guys coming in and out?
Obviously last year we lost Bubba and Lance, so that's and Riley Long. That's a big deal. So you kind of had to fill that gap, and I feel like we had to learn that it was no longer like we don't got guys that can just go out there and like dominate one-on-one, but like when we worked together, we had to figure out how to play, how to work. And it was really that West game from that point forward is where the switch kind of turned on, where we realized, like, we can be those guys. We can move people around. Like, we're meaner. Like, we can do that and play that kind of ball behind us. That's when Coach Sweetland and Coach Gossett and Coach Nix were like, we can play behind these guys. Like, we can run it and be dominant behind these guys. So.
And you all have some people who are playing multiple positions, right? You're rotating some guys. What's going on there?
Our guards, there's 4 of them, and they both, when they come in, they play well, and they all have their different strengths and weaknesses, and so it's good to be able to rotate those people around and see what we're getting and who's moving people the best and see which lineup is actually moving people the best. And I think we do a really good job of finding that and still being able to rotate them in and out. Gives them more breaks. And, I mean, you can move the other 2 of the guards out to tackle, and they can play that and play the rest of them to give people breaks and stuff like that, which allows us to be more fresh when we come back in.
So this is always one of those questions. We never know how the offensive line is going to handle this one. Are tight ends part of the line, or are they receivers at Alcoa? Are they working with you guys?
Little bit of a pause. A little bit of a pause on that one.
Last year when I played tight end, yeah, because they weren't throwing me the ball. But I don't think you can count Eli Owens as an O-lineman. I think he does too much.
But if you put Joe in.
Joe's an O-lineman. 45. Yeah, he's an O-lineman when he comes in.
Now, last night we saw, I believe it was an extra point where they did this several times last night, where we had a crew that was very concerned about your all's uniforms and that your knees were covered and were sending people off the field. Both sides, they sent GP players off. So you have to have the line substitution in the middle of a PAT kick. Does that get challenging to try to to make sure you're lined up correctly and everything's going correctly?
We were fortunate that the 2 guys that got sent off on that one were not on the side that they were rushing from. So we got lucky on that end. But, I mean, we practiced it enough in practice that everybody on the front can play any spot in the front. So, like, we got guys that can come off, and other guys have played field goal before. So we weren't worried when they came in that they were going to give up anything big. So.
And you also have another challenge. We saw an injury last night, and I don't think we know the extent of it. And we don't ask Peggy for extensive injuries, but when you have something like that happen, you have to make an adjustment there. What exactly had to happen? Like, who came in to fill that hole?
Like I said earlier, we're fortunate enough to have 2 guards that can move out to tackle, so we just moved one of them out to tackle and rotated those guards through. I'll tell you, in that moment, I think both me and Bryce were very scared for what was to come of that. It was a very scary experience to see another lineman go down and just grab a knee.
And it's something most players don't want to admit to, but it does have to put a thought in your mind, like, well, because you don't know what just happened. I mean, I don't think anybody saw exactly what had happened to him, but when you see another player that's hurt and they're playing right next to you, most people, we think about knees. We usually think about the receiver or the quarterback or the running back, but you guys are just as vulnerable out there. Do y'all does everybody brace up? Do y'all all brace up, or is it no braces, or how do y'all approach it?
I don't personally. I used to, but I don't anymore. But it definitely it's a thought in the back of the head. It definitely does. Getting rolled up, something like that, especially when you're locked onto a guy.
Yeah, that's when the most of the offensive line injuries occurs, when you get kind of rolled back behind someone behind your leg.
Yeah. I brace it. I brace it up. I'm double braced. Ankles and knees.
Well, hey, let me ask him a question. Coach Gossett's been a long-time offensive line coach, and he's produced so many great offensive linemen like you guys. What's the secret? What's the deal with Coach Gossett in terms of how he approaches coaching offensive linemen? And it seems like every other year he's getting a new group of guys, and the production level is still at a very high level. What can you tell me about Coach?
No, you go.
Coach Gossett's, he's just one of those guys that, he's so personal that he just wants you to, you just want to play for him. He just makes you want to play hard. Because you just want to make sure that you don't do him wrong because you feel bad when you mess up for him. He's one of those coaches that feels for you, and he's always there for you. So it's I want to prove him right. I want to show that he put me out here for a reason, and that's the reason that five's out there. I don't want to make him look wrong.
And I'll agree with that. I think he pushes us very hard, and he always gets us where we're supposed to be, sit over on the TV on the sideline and make adjustments and learn how to make ourselves better in that game. And I just think, like he said this week to us, is I told every other coach that we can line y'all up and we can run it straight at them. And I felt like we needed to prove that. And every week I feel like we need to prove that we can run it straight at them.
Great. So you all had an interesting thing with Coach this year because wasn't only Coach Nix that was on crutches for a good part of the season. Coach Gossett was on crutches for a little bit. I'm hoping nobody hit his crutches or there was none of that going on from the offensive linemen. Nobody was that brave.
I don't think Coach Gossett stayed on those crutches long enough for it to be a problem.
No, he didn't.
I think he had like a 1 week turnaround, and he was already out there showing us drills and stuff. So.
He was showing us drills on the crutches.
We're going to pretend. We're going to hope Peggy didn't hear that. That's what we're going to do. Because we don't want him to get in trouble. So we're going to put you on the spot a little bit. This is going to be the toughest question you're going to get from us today.
Be ready.
You all have a lot of talent lining up behind you. Who is the back that is the hardest to block for? Because you're afraid they're going to run over you if you don't get the block done.
Elijah Cannon.
That is correct.
There's no hesitation there.
No, he ran me over last night, so twice. So he gets downhill. He's not going to sit in there and dance around. He's getting downhill. Whoever's in the way.
Yeah. Our little goal line against Maryville, I was trucked into the end zone. And then last week, he just kept on doing it. We were running one play, and it was just bang, 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 right in my back.
But you'll take that for a touchdown, right?
Oh, I'll always take it for a touchdown.
But you'll have some interest, like when you bring in Joel Scales, it's like he can get past you before you've even had a chance to make the block, it looks like. And I think that happened to him once or twice last night where he got in front of you before you finished the block.
Yeah.
Fastest man in Blount County. He outside at the Jamboree. So he's quick. It's hard to. But it also helps him being so fast, you don't really have to block for long. And he's already in the second level. Mm-hmm. So.
And then what is it like to working with Graff? Because, I mean, I'm assuming that you all know if he's going to pass or throw most times, but there looks like times that he's making things up like it's on the playground. How hard is that to know what you're doing and not get yourself in the wrong position?
I'd say it's pretty hard because you never know if he's just going to sit back there and throw it or if he's just going to take off running. And so you got to make sure when they start watching a grab around to the side with their arms that he's not coming through.
He seems like a little bit of a very picker. Like he comes to a hole and he plays shadows behind you guys and just picks his way through the defense. It looks like he's very, very hard, like for you to keep track of because he's literally right behind you when he's coming your way.
He can cut on a dime. It makes us look a lot better than we are sometimes because he'll come in, you miss a block one way, boom, he's gone to the other side. Like he's very agile. So he makes our job a lot easier when he's running the ball. So y'all, we were talking about before you came on, but we were going through the playoff bracket. Y'all have Giles County next week at home. You all are in the routine. This is just standard, but it's Thanksgiving week. You guys are supposed to be on vacation, enjoying the time away, and instead you're going to be going to practice and getting ready for another playoff game. What does it do for Thanksgiving week? What does it do to your all schedule? Does it throw things off a little bit, or does it just seem like another regular week?
I don't know. I think it's kind of fun to get up on Thanksgiving morning and go practice knowing you get to play a game the next day. I think that's a very fun experience, at least personally for me.
And that's something you've done every year, so I mean, just part of the deal.
Is it a bit of a bonding experience to get up on Thanksgiving morning and have a practice session?
Yeah, I'd say so. I say it's a really cool thing because, I mean, you're really fortunate because you're one of 4 teams in 3A that gets to wake up on Thanksgiving morning and practice. You know, how awesome is that you get to play 14 weeks of football? You know, some guys tap out 4 weeks ago. So it's really awesome thing.
That's probably a pretty good deal if they have that before their meal.
I was just thinking
when I was in high school,
you've made room for more food at that point.
When I was in high school, they had us eat the meal, and then we had basketball practice that night at 6:30.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
That was a bad idea. That was a really bad idea.
Yeah.
I would not want anybody to miss free throws at that practice. I would not want to be running.
Nobody was moving very well, I can tell you that.
Guys, I guess we've talked about this with some other schools and some challenges. When you come into Alcoa, there's this expectation. Does that hang over you guys that, like, we don't want to be the group that doesn't go to the state championship game? We don't want to be the one that has that happen? Or is it just something that the fans worry about and the team is just concerned about the game?
I would say that it's not necessarily a fear of wanting to lose a streak. It's more of we still want it. We're still hungry for it every year to go win another one like it's the first one. Like, it's a big deal every year to us. We never take it for granted. It's always something that we hold so proud of. So it's always a big deal to us.
So we got 30 seconds left. I'll give you this one. If you had to give Coach Nix a grade for his video performance that plays before the games of his introduction of Alcoa High School, what would you give him? Give him a letter grade.
I don't know. It's something. It really is. I'm going to go with a B.
Give him a B?
Give him a B minus.
B
Got
minus.
a button-up shirt with no tie on. It was.
There you go. He's got the
me.
same complaint we do.
It was bothering me. Sorry.
Well, guys, we appreciate you getting up on Saturday morning and visiting with us. I'm sure you've got ice packs to visit after that game last night. So thanks for coming in, and best of luck next week, and we'll see you again after the semifinals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
Mike,
Good.
let's go ahead and turn
Okie
the
doke.
page.
Hey, time for a break. When we return, it's the Boyd Sports Spotlight as Goatee Sports Page veteran Donnie Moore will have the sports headlines, and our crew will talk some SEC football. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
It's payday, and on payday, you want to have access to your money right away. When you enroll for direct deposit at Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union, your money comes to you with no waiting. It's the fastest and most secure way to get paid. Getting set up is easy. All you need is your account number and our routing number. Find out more at tvacreditunion.com.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Some restrictions apply. Ask for details.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Boyd Sports Spotlight. And first up is Donnie Moore with the headlines. And Donnie, there's, gosh, we've been off for a couple of weeks. Got some good ones, don't you?
Yeah, we sure do. Well, we alluded to this earlier, but my lead headline today is comes from College Station, Texas.
Wow.
Texas A&M handled the Bulldogs of Mississippi State last Saturday in College Station, 51-10. Little did head coach Jimbo Fisher know that it would turn out to be his swan song. On Sunday, he was terminated. Fisher took the job before the start of the 2018 season, and high expectations abounded from the get-go. Fisher led the Aggies to 3 bowl games, including an Orange Bowl win in 2020, but things started to sour from there. Fisher signed a 10-year contract in 2018, and in the first 3 years was extended through the 2031 season. In addition, the contract came with an enormous buyout. That clause said that should the schools choose to fire him, well, fire him they did, and now Fisher is owed between $75 and $77 million, regardless of whether or not he finds a new head coaching job. $19 million of that sum is due within 60 days. And the next installment must be paid within 120 days. Who could be the next Aggie chief? Well, that's a prime question.
Not after last night's game.
That was sour.
They're thinking about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, no,
that was just wrong.
they're
I thought you'd enjoy
I'm
that.
not on the possibility, just the pun. That was horrible.
He does a better job at introductions, don't you think?
I'll take yes.
God.
I'll give him total kudos for my introduction. The pun, not so much.
Well, Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow suffered an injury to his right wrist during Cincinnati's Week 11 game with Baltimore. Burrow's injury was initially thought to be a sprained wrist, but after further examination was diagnosed as a torn ligament.
And now they're questioning whether that happened in the game.
Mm-hmm. The injury will require season-ending surgery.
Yeah, I don't understand how he goes into the game because, obviously there's photos of him with the wrist kind of wrapped up a bit.
Yep.
And then it was really a non-contact injury when he threw it. I mean,
it's kind of mysterious.
Yeah, it really
So
is.
that would require them telling him that there was an injury and telling him the severity of it before the game, and him agreeing to play. But none of that was disclosed by the rules of what should have been listed. So
none.
There's some question marks there. We'll see how that goes. But I think the chance for that division to get 4 playoffs teams ended Thursday night. I don't think Cincinnati can make the playoffs without Burrows.
No, I think they're swamped. Well, Mike, Formula One racing is hugely popular throughout the world, as we all know, and now there are 3 F1 races in the U.S. The Las Vegas Grand Prix is this weekend, and the Strip has been transformed into a track for the first Formula One race in decades. The race is expected to draw in excess of 100,000 fans. The most notable driver in this season's F1 is this season's F1 champion, Max Verstappen.
Yeah, Max Verstappen. He's not too happy with that race.
He's not.
In Las Vegas.
I caught that from the article I read.
Yeah,
why are they running in the middle of the night?
He doesn't. Well, it's
race.
hot. Well, it's 11. It's on 11:30 tonight, but they're on a different time frame out there.
I think it's on at 3 a.m.
No, 11:30. You can get it at 11:30 tonight.
Okay.
And that would be what, their 2-hour difference out there?
Yeah.
It'd be probably 9:30 but it's a
something
night
like that.
race. They run under the lights. Formula One does.
Yeah,
all over the world.
They've got LEDs.
Yeah.
Outlining the whole
Yeah,
track.
and they had problems with
Bright
the
lights of Vegas.
a water main.
Oh, it was
out
a drain
there.
pipe out there.
Yeah, the Ferrari driver hit the main and wrecked his car, and they called the station off and emptied fans out of the stands and came back at 2:30 in the morning and let them run a practice session. And that didn't get off to a good start. And then Max Verstappen, he's all over them about they got people coming in there and they're more interested in all the other stuff going on and not very
the
much
show instead of the
not
race.
very much interested on the drivers and the cars and that type of thing. But
he said he's just going to go out there and do what he does and then leave.
The problem with Formula One is, they don't have the balance like IndyCar has. They have Max Verstappen and Hamilton, and really Verstappen right now, he's just dominated in Formula One.
They're just
whereas
a few
IndyCar, you can
superstars.
go to any track in America and have a different winner.
Sure.
It's up for grabs, but it's pretty. The championship's already decided in Formula One.
It's
the
top
hype's out.
heavy.
Yeah, the hype's over with, and heck, they don't want to pass anybody. They don't want to take any chances. And,
Right.
IndyCar's a whole different now. Them guys will take chances and pass, and
Sure.
there's no team orders. They got team orders in Formula One where the number one number two driver can't pass the number one driver.
Right.
And, there's all kinds of things going. But they're not happy with it out there. Of course, Tony, Coach Trail, you said there's a lot of things that go on in Vegas
I
that
was
get
going
you
to say
off
that's not a big deal. Being out there at 9 o'clock at night in Las Vegas on the Strip.
That's early,
because,
isn't it?
business is still good at that time.
There's other activities going on.
Believe me. So that is not according to Coach Trail, that is not a big deal at all.
No. Yeah. Yeah, can you hear those people? They're going, what's going on outside? It's noisy out there. They got.
Yeah. But I get 2-for-1 deals over here, though.
Right.
Exactly. Well, we'll see how it goes. Well, the Tennessee Titans will be moving to a new stadium for the 2027 season, but their new digs will still have a familiar name, Nissan Stadium. Still name it Nissan Stadium. The team announced yesterday a 20-year naming rights deal with the Nissan Corporation. Nissan Stadium has been the home of the Titans since 2015.
Well, they won't have to pay for a new sign. They'll just take the old sign and put it on the
move it
stadium.
on.
That'll save them some money.
Now, where is it going to be located in the city? Is it
just kind of across the parking lot?
Just
Right.
across?
Yeah.
Just going to
Pretty much.
same area?
Yeah.
Same area.
Yeah, same area.
Use this one parking lot now. This is where we're going
Just
to
right across the
Pretty much.
bridge.
Yep.
You walk across the bridge and
Yep.
you're right there to
Yep.
the stadium.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
real
going
close.
left, you'll go right.
Real
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, Ken Squire, Mike, NASCAR Hall of Famer, co-founder of the Motor Racing Network and broadcasting legend, passed away Wednesday night at the age of 88. Squire is credited with being the first person to get flag-to-flag coverage of auto racing on television as CBS aired the Daytona 500 in 1979. Squire was a native of Vermont.
Yeah. He was a giant,
he was.
especially NASCAR, but I would rank him right up there with Chris Economaki. Remember when Chris Economaki was beat news and what he did for the sport? And,
Sure, yeah.
and,
They were
and
legends.
not only in IndyCar, but in NASCAR also. But
Legends.
Ken Squire he definitely left his mark.
Sure did.
For sure. Yeah.
Sure did.
Big loss.
Yep, big loss. You're right. Staying with a little bit of racing news, retired NASCAR driver Kevin Harvick has purchased Ricky Bobby's mansion from the film Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby. Harvick paid $6.75 million for the fictional driver's mansion, which is located in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. The estate includes 12,000 square feet with 6 bedrooms and 9 bathrooms, a bar, an infinity pool, and a boat dock, just to name some of the features.
Not quite as good as yours. I mean,
Go back to what my dad always said. How much house does it need to take to make a home? How much house does it take to make a home? Huh?
Yeah, no kidding. All right.
That's a good one right there.
Here are some things that happened on this day, November the 18th. 1949, the National League batting leader, Jackie Robinson, wins the National League MVP. He had a .342 batting average. 1964, Orioles third baseman Brooks Robinson wins the American League Most Valuable Player Award.
He just passed away.
He did.
Yeah, what a great player.
1966, Brooklyn, L.A. Dodgers pitcher Sandy Koufax announces his retirement due to an arthritic left elbow.
He threw so hard.
He threw so hard, he had arthritis.
I
in
mean,
his
when you look
elbow.
at his Hall of Fame career, I mean, it's really only a 5-6 year period.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a little bit of above average when he first started off pitching, but then he had that 5-6 year period where he was so dominating.
Well, he got Casey Stengel's attention because Casey thought he was the best pitcher that ever threw the baseball.
He sure did.
Yeah.
1970, Who do you think won the National League Most Valuable Player?
70.
1970.
Orlando Cepeda.
Reds catcher Johnny Bench. Yeah.
Yeah.
My man.
1979, the 29th NASCAR Series Cup was won by the first person to win it 7 times. Mike?
I don't know.
Richard Petty.
Yeah, Richard Petty.
Richard Petty.
You ever heard of him?
Yeah, we've heard of him.
Yeah.
The King.
The King.
1980, despite missing 45 games, this guy won the American League Most Valuable Player. George Brett.
George Brett.
Missed 45 games
Did he
and
really?
still won the MVP. 1981, Phillies third baseman wins his 2nd consecutive National League MVP.
Schmidt.
Mike Schmidt.
Mike Schmidt.
1982, South Korean boxer Duk Koo Kim dies from injuries sustained during a 14-round beating by Ray Mancini, Boom Boom Mancini, in Las Vegas, which subsequently led to title bouts being shortened to 12 rounds.
Yeah. I met Boom Boom.
Did you?
Time, yeah. He's in West Virginia. He was a guest speaker. And
There
all
you
that.
go. 1986, the American League Most Valuable Player on this date was won by Roger Clemens.
Tom.
He could throw the heater,
man.
couldn't he?
He was the man.
He could. 1987, Cubs' Andre Dawson is the first player from a last-place club to win an MVP.
Really. For the Cubs.
Last place, yeah, Cubbies.
Yeah. Well, Lonnie wouldn't like that.
No, he wouldn't.
You remember, he always said Johnny Majors should have won the Heisman that year, but
Yeah.
they picked Paul Hornung. They didn't
That's
hardly
right.
win a game up there.
Last place player.
Notre Dame.
Last place
Yeah.
club. 1990, the 4th NASCAR Sprint Cup was won by Dale Earnhardt. That was his 4th NASCAR Sprint Cup.
Intimidator.
Yep, the Intimidator. That was his name. Yep, rest in peace, Dale.
Yep.
Well, that's all for this week's sports headlines. Now let's bring the Boyd Sports Spotlight into focus. Back to you, Gunner.
All right, we're going to jump all over the place this morning because the SEC schedule is feel-good day.
Feel
That's
good.
right.
Day.
This is
That's
feel-good
right.
day in the league. Everybody's going to be – they're serving cupcakes at all the stadiums today in the SEC. Chattanooga's at Alabama, University of Louisiana Monroe's at Ole Miss, Abilene Christian. Abilene. Prettiest place I ever seen.
That's right.
Abilene Christian is at Texas A&M. New Mexico State is at Auburn. FIU is at Arkansas. Southern Miss is at Mississippi State. And Georgia State is at LSU. You can't make enough.
And Georgia's
cupcakes.
No,
at,
you
hey,
can't.
Georgia's
You
at
can't.
Georgia's at Tennessee.
Georgia's at. Is
Is that one of those feel good?
No, that's
That's
a
not-
big game.
okay.
There are other games
Yeah.
also, but Georgia and Tennessee's the big one. Florida is at Missouri today. We'll see how Missouri reacts to their big
Sure.
win against Tennessee. And this will, they can go 9-2 today and look at a 10-2 year out there
Yeah.
at Mizzou. Keep things going there. And then Kentucky's at South Carolina. These are two teams that are, they're just wavering. Kentucky's got Louisville next week.
Yeah,
You know
So,
what, Coach? You know what Coach Trail would call that game?
Battle
of the Mullets.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm going to jump around a little bit because the SEC schedule is not. I just hate those games. Have I ever said that before? Those off the cuff.
Maybe.
Millions of dollars being spent today to watch what? Nothing.
Yeah. Very two games. Yeah, exactly right.
Tennessee basketball. I want to talk a little bit about Tennessee basketball.
yeah.
Marcus, they're 3-0. They got wins over Tennessee Tech and Wofford. Throwaway games there. You always expect those in basketball, too, to start the year. But good win up at Wisconsin. I'll give them credit for that. That's a tough place to play up there in the Big Ten. They had a full house, and they came away with a good victory up there. And I want to get your thoughts on this Tennessee basketball team early. I'm pretty excited about them. I like this team. They look good inside. They look good outside. They got good depth. They're playing well offensively. I like
Can
that.
they play defense?
I tell you what, they're scoring 80 points a game. Coach Barnes, put the defense in your pocket, grab you a Coke, and sit over there and enjoy it. Huh? Don't mess this deal up. Dalton Connect, 20.5 points a game
Well, he
through
can
the
shoot
first
it,
three.
can't he?
He's a player. He's an
Yeah.
absolute player. They want offensive players. You got him, so let him play.
That's right.
Let him play. Jordan Gainey, the other newcomer, 12 points a game, and then Josiah Jordan James, 13.5 points a game. I like all three of those guys
I
and what
like
they're
that.
playing. Ziegler and Vescovy a little bit behind, one because of an injury and the other because they've been out of the country, but Vescovy got 11 points the other night, I believe, in the win over Wofford. But I like this team, Marcus. I do.
You know, I'm going to echo the guys on ESPN, I guess, but you like what the scoring option Tennessee has added, because you felt that's what we felt last year was when they got into a close game, they had 5 guys that wanted to share the basketball and none of them wanted to take the shot. Or it was going to come down to, you know, your usual suspect of the guys who would take it if they had the ball in their hands, but they weren't looking for it.
No.
So now you've got 2 guys who are perfectly willing to put the ball in their hands and put it up.
Right. No,
So-
there's not a shot they don't like.
You know,
Yeah.
I like
like
that
that.
Tennessee has a scoring punch. I want to see what they're going to do this week at the Maui Invitational with it. I want to see how Barnes wants to use it and how he balances that with his defense.
Yeah, well, he's playing a lot of players, and he's done that in the past early, and he's got them playing real well early, and that's been the tempo here with his teams at Tennessee. And they come out of the gate strong. They build their resume by beating some pretty strong teams. And then they get in the league, and then he goes into this. I don't know. We got to get back on the defense mode. You know, we got to play it like a chess. I hope we don't get back into that.
I do too.
But we'll see. They've got Syracuse coming up, and then they're going to play the winner of the Purdue-Gonzaga game out in Hawaii, and they've also got a game at North Carolina coming up, I think, after the Hawaiian tournament. So a lot to look forward to in basketball with this Tennessee team. But
it's a great December schedule
like
for
it.
them.
I like it.
They're going to play a lot of big-name
Yep.
games. They're going to be on ESPN a whole lot.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the way Coach Barnes has done it since he's been here, to play those tough teams early.
It has.
And he usually has his team ready to play, and he builds up his resume, and that helps him, come tournament time.
Yeah, he's never been a guy that wants to play, I don't know, they hate saying with the fluff type of opponents and all that. He believes, from the very start, let's play tough teams. Let's get our team ready for the SEC. So, yeah, he still keeps that state philosophy, and obviously it's been very successful for him.
I want to talk a little bit, go back to Tennessee in this football game today. The bowl possibilities, I kind of looked into that. There's 3 bowls that right now seem to be heading in Tennessee's direction. The Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida, Music City Bowl in Nashville, and the Mayo Bowl in Charlotte. Tony, if the Gator Bowl, they've got them projected at maybe playing Miami, North Carolina, and Clemson. Of course, they played Clemson in the bowl game last year. North Carolina would be the most attractive because they're the only one ranked right there.
Yeah.
The Music City Bowl, man, you're looking at maybe a Big Ten opponent that could be Rutgers or Northwestern. That doesn't appeal to me.
No, that doesn't get you excited.
And the Music City Bowl, you've already played down there this year. You played Virginia down there. I don't like that deal. And the Mayo Bowl, maybe they're talking about Virginia Tech, but you're going back there next year to play, I don't particularly like that one. Now, if you beat Georgia today, you can wipe all that off.
Sure, that gets you a whole different level.
You're looking at a whole different level of bowl game.
Sure.
Here, you could be looking at maybe a 9 if Notre Dame finishes 9-3 out, you could be looking at a Notre Dame, for instance, Tennessee matchup.
Sure,
that'd be a heck of a matchup.
Absolutely.
Both teams 9-3 at I don't know where you could put them, Citrus Bowl or wherever, but. That's how important this game is today for Tennessee. I think this is what you're looking at if you don't get this game.
Right. And to me, if we don't get the game, then to me the most attractive one to me I'd be down the Gator Bowl.
Yeah.
Where you play in North Carolina, even in Miami. I mean, because you're going to get a good attendance to the game and a lot of excitement for that game.
Yeah.
But the others, it just doesn't do very much for me.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. This game today. If Tennessee beats Georgia, Marcus, Georgia comes in here at number 1. Mm-hmm. They've won 2 national championships in a row. Looks like they're going for 3. Yeah. They're going to have that opportunity. Would this be the greatest win in Tennessee football history if they pull this off today?
It would be the greatest win. It would be by far the greatest win of the Josh Heupel era. It would trump beating Alabama. but I don't think it's going to be. It wouldn't be. There's too many other big wins in Tennessee's history for that. But as if you want to call it the biggest upset, it would be in the top 5 of Tennessee history.
So the goalposts are coming down today if they beat Georgia today?
Oh, if they beat Georgia today, those goalposts don't have a chance.
Okay.
Goalpost.
I'm not sure the turf would survive if they beat.
Yep.
Eggs coming from the stadium, all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, how about this on this side, going to the other side of the ball a little bit? Let's say things don't go so well today against Georgia, Tony. Should Josh Heupel make a quarterback change against Vanderbilt next week? And based on what he's going to be there and who he's going to be looking at in the bowl game, do you start looking for next year?
No, I wouldn't make a change. I mean, I think I'd still stay with him, and he's been your guy, and just because you happen to lose against the number 1 team in the nation, you don't make a change. Even though you're playing at Vanderbilt and all that, I think his job is to make sure he keeps his team sticking together. And when you start making changes like that, just because now you're saying, well, I'm looking for next year now. I mean, I don't think the players would buy into that, so I wouldn't make a change.
Yeah. About Marcus.
And, well, I mean, what kind of measuring stick is it? Because Joe Milton looked great against Vanderbilt and Clemson last year. So what measuring stick do you have by playing somebody against Vanderbilt? I mean, all you're going to do is burn his red shirt if he plays. And
a 9-4. Let's say they don't get today, and they get Vanderbilt, win the bowl game. You're 9-4, Donnie. That's nothing to sneeze about.
No, it's not. No. I mean, that's a successful season to most people's standards anyway. I don't know. Maybe Vol fans are impossible to please.
Yeah.
Well, they are, but they're also not that far removed from 6-win season where –
Right.
9 looks pretty good when you're sitting at home.
Yep. Yeah. It's one of those years where you win 9 and it looks like the box score where you hit 2 bloopers out there and you went 2 for 3 or 2 for 4.
Right.
You really didn't beat any really great teams, but you got 9-4.
But again, when you talked to us, 2-3 months ago, we all were kind of saying we were all in that kind of range because we were all recognizing the change at the quarterback, the level of quarterback play is not going to be the same. Losing some key people in offensive positions. So I think, the sound-minded people like us, we were kind of foreseeing that.
I think the Florida game's the damper. Looking back right now. That's the downer. No shame losing to Alabama or Missouri the way they're playing.
Yeah. The Florida game was the one that really took because Tennessee had momentum going into that game. I mean, Tennessee was on a roll, and now it's.
Donnie, here's the big question. Dolly Parton's going to be there today. She's going to sing Rocky Top. What kind of influence is that going to have on the game?
Well, it's going to have a great influence on the crowd. I don't know whether it's going to have any influence on the game or not. But the crowd's going to love it.
Dolly's there. They had the Jonas Brothers over there, during the pregame show going on over there. I mean, all the big timers.
I mean, it's going to be Dolly for president.
I don't remember Dolly ever coming to a football game. You?
No, I don't think.
I've never seen her. I don't think at a football game.
That just shows you they're pulling out all the stops.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
I mean, when you're bringing in Dolly, you're getting serious about the whole deal.
That's right. Dolly and Georgia. I mean, there's no better combination coming to UT.
They beat Georgia today. Dolly will be coming to every one of them.
Oh, I get it.
She can sing whatever she wants to sing. Yeah. Hey, Tony, got you here. I want to talk a little bit about you guys' season up at Carson Newman a little bit.
Okay.
How did you all feel it came out?
Well, we finished up 5-6. We're just still not quite where we want to be. We feel like that we got to really hit the road real hard and do a better job of recruiting kids coming to Carson Newman. Felt like that our defense really played well for most of the year. We only averaged giving up about 340 yards a game total offense, which is one of the better defenses in the country. Offensively, we just we've been it's been a not sure who the quarterback's been the last 4 or 5 years. It seems like we've had a one and done quarterback the last 4 or 5 years at Carson Newman. We got to get stability in that area, and we got to improve the offensive line. We had some good games, but just not the standard that people expect to be at Carson Newman.
Yeah, you guys played 11 games. Most colleges and universities play 12.
Division II we play 11.
Everybody plays 11
Yeah,
games. Okay.
11 or less, and the first round of the playoffs is this week. Of course, Lenore Ryan going to the playoffs from our conference, and has been a dominant team in our conference. And right now we just, we've all we had a big staff meeting on Monday, talked to players on the team the last several days, and we'll hit the road hard right after Thanksgiving recruiting.
Okay, very good. Hey, time for a break, and when we return, it's the Bold Predictions segment. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today: call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for this week's Bold Predictions segment. I'm here with Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons and Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Iruli. And Donnie, before we get started, we want to wish everybody out there a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. We're going to be enjoying one, so we hope everyone else does too.
Yeah, and Tony, I want to tell you, appreciate you being here this morning. Hope you can continue to coming back.
Anytime you want an Italian on this, I'd be more than happy, and I got a lot of Uncle Vito stories, so I can easily share them.
Yeah, well, we enjoy having you, and you can come back anytime.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We're going to look at some games here, Donnie. Since we started keeping the tallies, you're up 6-4, and Marcus and I are 5-5.
Well, it's not any prowess of mine. It's just luck.
Yeah, I tell you what, these spreads are hard to.
He's such a humble man.
Well, let's take the one in Knoxville. Number 1 Georgia at number 18 Tennessee. Georgia's undefeated. Tennessee 7-3. We've talked about how big the game is and all the hype, and the crowd's going to be crazy over there. Georgia comes in a 10.5-point favorite. Tony, I'll start with you.
Georgia's just still going to be too strong. It's going to be a much better game. I think it'll be competitive for the most part, but Georgia's still going to come up with the win.
Marcus?
I'm going to take Georgia simply because I think there's going to be some turnovers that Georgia's going to turn into points.
Yeah, Georgia's going to pull the line. Dogs, unfortunately.
Well, I'll tell you what.
It hurts you saying that, doesn't it?
I'll tell you what. I'm a Tennessee guy, and I've ripped them pretty good on that Missouri game this morning. And I like teams coming back after games like that. You know.
Yeah.
And Georgia had a big game down there against Ole Miss, and they've heard all this talk.
You're going to do it, huh?
They've had all of this talk.
Do it.
All this talk about Alabama. I can't wait to get Bama. You know, and Tennessee is, coming off of that, and teams always play better.
Yep.
After that loss, after they've been embarrassed. I'm gonna.
You're gonna do it, huh?
Yes, sir.
You're gonna do it.
I'm taking Tennessee.
Oh, they're taking the Vols.
I'm taking the Vols today and the 10.5 points, gentlemen. I think that Georgia they're going to win the game. I think.
And that's how
but
I get ahead
think
of
Tennessee's going to hang around with them.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, and you graduated from what school?
What a Vol, Tennessee.
There
Vol,
you go.
Vol land,
Absolutely.
man. I'm telling you. And yeah, this is an pretty even series. This Georgia-Tennessee football series is pretty even. And, what worries you the most is is Kirby Smart over there. Kirby Smart on the sideline. If it was somebody else. But I'll tell you, he does a heck of a job getting them up for big games.
Yeah.
All right, Louisville is at Miami. What a job Jeff Brom has done after coming from Purdue back to Louisville. Cardinals are number 10 in the country at 9-1. Miami 6-4. Miami coming off a loss last week to Florida State, and they're a 1-point favorite. Who you like, Morgan?
What's the line again here?
1 point. Miami.
I'm still going to go with Louisville. I'm going to take Louisville.
Donnie?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cardinals too.
I'm going to take the Cardinals. Who do you like?
I'm going with the Canes.
You're going
with the Canes.
Troy would be happy.
Yeah, for my buddy Troy right there. It's at home. Louisville has won games, but they've been. It seems like every time I watch them, they've been kind of inconsistent. They've won games, but on an inconsistent way they've played. I'm just going to go for the Canes being at home, just as long as we don't they don't mess up on downing the ball or anything like that.
Hey, you got Washington, number 5 in the country at 7-0, and a big game out there in the Pac-12 is at Oregon State. Oregon State's number 11, 8-2, and Oregon State's a 2.5-point favorite.
Ooh.
Yeah, Corvallis is a hard place to play.
Yeah. Who you like, Donnie?
I picked Washington last time, and they disappointed me, so I'm going to pick Oregon State.
In an upset.
Yep.
I'm going to take Washington.
All right.
I'm going to take them up there. I mean, they're number 5. I mean, they're still in the hunt for the playoff.
Yeah, they are.
Heck, they can't win this, and they don't deserve to be there anyway.
That's true.
Who you like?
I'm going Washington. I think Pendex he's a difference maker. He's had a great season all year, and I think he'll do it.
Give me the Beavers. I am going to stick with Oregon State here.
The Beavs.
I think they're going to pull the upset and put the CFP into a little bit of a bind.
A quandary.
Tony, isn't it Oregon State that got left out there? Is it Oregon State and Washington State that got left out? They didn't find a new conference?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
They got a 2-team conference right now, and that deal's out there in court.
But they now have the rights to the conference, and they actually have the rights to the conference money for the time being.
Well, that's what I'm saying. For the time being, it's still kind of on hold, and they're looking at what, the Mountain West or something, maybe taking them in?
Making a deal to bring in the Mountain West.
Well, anyway, there's a little bit of incentive for the Beavers right there. We control the money, and we want to control you today.
That's right. Go Beavs.
Yeah. Number 20, North Carolina at 8-2 is at Clemson. Clemson's 6-4, and Clemson's a 7-point favorite in Death Valley today. And I'm taking Clemson.
I'm going Clemson too. They've been playing well last 2 weeks.
Okay. Marcus?
I'm going to have to do the same because I thought they were done, but they've shown some life lately.
Connie?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Tigers too.
Well, I'm going to take them, but I'm not so sure of them because I know North Carolina can put some points up on the board, and I don't know whether Clemson can match those points, but we'll see. And I'm going to take them too. So that means everybody's got them. This next one is an interesting one. One of the stories in college football is James Madison. Tony, they're 10-0 right now, and they're playing the Giant Killers, Appalachian State.
That's going to be a heck of a game.
They got them at home. Appalachian State's at 6-4, but what a reputation Appalachian State has for winning big games and so forth. And James Madison.
Yeah.
James Madison is number 18 in the AP poll. So, who do you like, Tony?
I like James Madison. First of all, I think they're really getting I don't want to say the word by the NCAA by not allowing them to be bowl eligible, even though they're going through a 2-year trial period or whatever. They've beaten everyone. They're undefeated right now. They're beating everyone that's gone to play that they faced, even some very good. I call them the D1 schools and all that. Mm-hmm. And but I'm gonna still go for James Madison.
And because of that,
NCAA
because of that waiting period, because they changed in conference.
Correct.
They're not in the playoff polls.
Correct.
They're only in the AP, which is the coaches poll.
Right. I mean, the NCAA is supposed to be doing what's supposed to be right for the student athlete, and that is totally wrong. Just like when they screwed around with that player from North Carolina about his eligibility and all that. I mean, they're continuing making themselves look bad. They've kind of.
And I'm not so sure they made themselves look any better over this Michigan situation.
No, Michigan this situation, the way.
The thing, though, is it makes sense to me if you're moving down from Division II to Division III. Yeah. But when you're moving up, what sense does that make?
Doesn't make any sense at all.
No, and they're taking everyone on. They
need to just go ahead and go to court over that right now and see what they can get done. Marcus, who you got?
I'm taking James Madison.
Donnie?
Yeah, I'm taking Dukes as well.
Go Dukes.
I actually drove by their campus last weekend. It's a beautiful
pretty place.
Yeah, when I was up at Emory and Henry, they played James Madison in football and beat them.
Really?
Beat them when I was up there, Emory and Henry
back in '71, I was at Sanford, and we played James Madison first round playoff and beat them as well. But it's a beautiful campus. It's right there on the interstate, and they've done things the right way over there.
James Madison Liberty is another school. They're in Virginia. Both James Madison and Liberty, their football programs have really done well, haven't they?
Done excellent right there. We got Dino Mattis, who used to coach at Carson Newman. He's their secondary coach right there. Just great location.
Yeah. Speaking of Liberty, I want to say congratulations to my high school graduating friend Kerry Green, who's the women's basketball coach up there
at
Liberty.
Fantastic.
He just became the winningest coach in Liberty history.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Right there. He got 692 wins or something like that.
In Liberty history?
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of other team histories as well and all that. That's 690.
Congratulations, Kerry.
Perfect.
Yeah. Great guy, too. I graduated with him at Friendsville High School back in 1974.
Back when Friendsville was a basketball power.
That's right.
There we go.
So congratulations, Kerry. We got to go.
Donnie, it's been fun.
It has been fun. Yeah, time to get out of here.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the Goatee Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael back at the Loud Media, our host, the Blue Tick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons, until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports.